Having one hard conversation a day can change the way that you do business. It can change the way that you do life. It can be challenging. In fact, most people wake up every day and think, well, how can I have a great day? But I want to include into that, how can I have a day where I have one challenging conversation a day? And for most of the time, it's going to be with other people, but sometimes it'll be with the man or woman in the mirror. But what is that one conversation you can have today that can truly direct the way that you live the rest of your life, live the rest of your days? So I'm going to share with you, I want to jump in and share with you an article that we just wrote, and I think it'll be helpful for you. And so as I share this, I'd love your feedback. So this is on our website, yourpersuasioncoach.com. And again, if this is your first time following, be sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm just here to help people, prosper in all areas. Influence yourself, influence others, impact the world. That's what we're here for at Your Persuasion Coach. And if you want more information about that, just follow me. But let's jump in. So I'm actually going to just do full screen here, and hopefully you can see it well on your computer. We're going to jump over to our blog. And we're going to go down to today's. And of course, if you're at a blog, there's a lot of great information. But today, we're just going to talk about the power of one hard conversation. And then I'm going to jump in and give you some feedback of where I've actually had to use this in my life and where I should have used this in my life. So the power of one hard conversation a day. So I'm not going to read it to you word for word. It's here. But basically, as I said earlier, we live in a world where most people are focused on comfort. Most people are focused on how to have great conversations with people, avoid conflict and everything. But there's something to having a hard conversation. And I can look back at some of the life-altering events in my life that have been very good and very bad. And the good ones came from great conversations, hard conversations. Sometimes the bad ones because I didn't have that hard conversation. And I'll give you some real-life details, full transparency here in a minute. But number one, it breaks through our comfort zone. But why should we have these hard conversations? Why should I reach out to someone and say, hey, we need to have a talk. We need to have a man-to-man or adult-to-adult, or we need to catch up on connect on this. And I'll give you some verbiage later. Well, number one, we're naturally inclined to stay within our comfort zones. It's the way we're created. Take it easy, make it easy. But growth rarely happens there. By committing to one hard conversation a day, you don't have to have 20, but one, you're deliberately stepping into discomfort. You're deliberately saying this is going to hurt, but it's not going to kill me. The world's not going to end. These clouds are not going to fall upon me. I'm going to do it. So, conversation with a colleague about unmet expectations. I'm going to talk to you about that. Addressing an ongoing family issue, setting a boundary with someone who oversteps. Each time you choose to face uncomfortable situations, you expand your capacity. You're literally building up your courage, resilience, confidence, patience. You're building this up. Maybe not patience. You've probably been too patient and you need to have some of these. But you're building up these faculties that you're going to take for the rest of your life. Over time, you'll find that what once seemed challenging is pretty simple. Number two, improves emotional intelligence. Hard conversations require a level of self-awareness and empathy that we simply aren't taught. When you approach a difficult topic, you're forced to consider your own emotions, triggers, biases, as well as that of the other person, which leads to emotional intelligence. Learning how to navigate through this is so powerful. Number three, strengthening relationships. Now, you may think, how could that strengthen? If I give somebody bad news, if I tell somebody I'm upset with them, I tell somebody this is not the way I see it, how could that be good? But it actually is. Because when you harbor those feelings, and I've counseled in my counseling practice, even outside of the coaching, my counseling practice, I've counseled hundreds and hundreds of people. And I've seen this, that they harbor resentment and misunderstandings fester, and all of a sudden there's problems. So whether it's a spouse, friend, coworker, hey, I'm going to have this conversation. It's going to be a hard conversation, but I'm going to have it today. May be uncomfortable in the moment, but long-term benefit of honesty and openness can be game-changing. Building self-respect and confidence. Each time you face a hard conversation, you're reinforcing your beliefs in yourself. You're proving that you can handle difficult situations. Speak your truth. Stand your ground. Build respect and confidence with yourself and with others. Accelerate professional growth. This is so important. I'm going to say this. Let me this really, really capitalize on this. If you're going to have a career, so I'm a business strategist. I run sales teams. There's a lot of things that I do in the business world. Business owner, I have to have professional growth and I have to continuously grow because other people are continuously growing and people rely on me. So by having these hard conversations, I'm learning how to do it the right way. Like I will approach someone different with a hard conversation based on their temperament. We can get into that on another study. Are they very melancholy? We'll say, what's their temperament? Okay. Then what state are they in the moment? What identity are they grabbing a hold of? When I learn by having those hard conversations and learning when to have those hard conversations, then I'm accelerating my professional growth. Are you with me? Okay. So how to start your one hard conversation practice. It sounds intimidating, start small. Identify your conversations. This is first and foremost. Make a list of conversations you've been avoiding. Is it a family member? Is it a business partner? Is it an employee? Is it a spouse? Set a daily intention. Write it out. Guys, I'll share with you. I haven't written out my one for today, so I can show this to you. But this is mine. I write it on a sticky note. I write on a sticky note because I'm going to have it and I'm going to discard it. Does that make sense? I'm not keeping a journal. This is a sticky note. One hard conversation. I know who I'm putting on there today. I'll put their name on there and I'll have the conversation before today's out, or I'll initiate the conversation. Okay. Set a daily intention. Practice active listening. When you initiate, remember listening is just as important as speaking. Pay attention to the other person's perspective and validate their feelings even if you don't agree with them. This takes me back to something very important. People need to feel understood, appreciated, and respected. Even if you don't fully agree with them, they want to be understood. I understand your point on this. I understand where you're coming from, or I can agree with that to a point. So they want to be understood. They want to be respected. Okay. So I respect where you're coming from. I can respect your belief on that. I can respect how you see it that way. Understood, appreciated, and respected. Write those three things on take another sticky note, write those on there and seed that through. Look for areas that you can understand, you can agree, you can appreciate, you can respect, and then make sure that you seed that in the conversation. Okay. Focus on solutions, not blame. Something very important that you're going to hear a lot of. What problem are we trying to solve here today? I'm not sure exactly who I heard this from, but I know that one of my really good friends, Steve Smarriage, he says a lot, what problem are we trying to solve here? And it keeps you back on what problem are we trying to solve here today? Okay. Focus on solutions, not blame. We want to look at solutions and situations, not blame or attacking someone's identity. Finally, reflect and learn. After each conversation, take a few minutes to reflect on what went well, and what you could improve. This will help you fine tune. And now I want to talk about the ripple effect. One conversation, one breakthrough can definitely move you from one area to another, the ripple effect from one person to another. Now, again, if you guys want to go and read the whole article, just jump over to yourpersuasioncoach.com, click on the blog, and then it's the first one. And of course, I have other ones on there as well. But let me talk to you about the power of one hard conversation. Now, there's some good books out there on Radical Candor is a great book. Got some good lessons. I went through their master class. It was really good. Knowing how to have it is effective. So these could be some great resources. But being intentional about having it. Okay. So I look at things like, who in my family do I need to have a hard conversation with? And that doesn't mean I need to correct them. Maybe I need forgiveness. Maybe I need to forgive them. Maybe we just haven't connected. One hard conversation could be, I haven't talked to them in 2 years, and I just want to pick up the phone and call them. Make it, it doesn't have to be life changing. That can be life changing, but it doesn't have to be bad, is what I mean to say. Okay, so somebody in my family, who do I need to have a hard conversation with in my family? How do I do that? Then business. So a number of years ago, really good friend of mine, we started a business, but we started a business. We kind of started it with like a handshake and an agreement, but we never set out the parameters on compensation. We never set out the parameters on ownership. And there was a lot of assumptions. And ultimately, that is not where we needed to be. Okay. So it should have had we had the conversation later, but we should have had it at the beginning. Now, since then, I've started another company and I have a partner, and we're very clear on roles. We're very clear on what we're looking for, compensation, exit strategy. We'll have harder conversations, I'm sure, but we began on the right foot. So I don't have to have that hard conversation today. So now let's say your friends. You can go through so many areas. But I'm going to give you an example of these hard conversations. I also had a conversation that was a hard conversation a number of years ago. I was moving into management, and the hard conversation was, well, here's the comp plan, and I didn't agree with the comp plan. So I went back and said, hey, but this is the comp plan everybody's followed. But I'm like, hey, this comp plan, let's have a conversation around that. And the conversation was cut short. Like, this is the comp plan. Kind of a take it or leave it, right? Gotcha. Well, I recognize that was the comp plan. However, I think we need to have a conversation around it if I'm going to move forward. And so, yeah, there was some tension there from somebody I massively respect. When they came back and said, well, Wayne, what are you wanting? And I gave my number, and they gave their, they stuck with the basic. They stuck with the plan. And I really just came back and said, well, something that I picked up from Chris Voss. Well, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that? Now, that was a hard conversation. It was a hard question. They came back and they said, well, what do you mean, how are you supposed to do it? Well, how am I supposed to do this requirements for that? You put it back on them. It was a hard conversation. Came back. I got what I wanted. Everything was good. We had a great working relationship. So ask yourself. In fact, I'd recommend write this out. Now, maybe you don't do it every day, but I think if you see it every day, you'll have those hard conversations. Me, I have a business conversation I have to have today with somebody that I'm not looking forward to. I know it, but I'm writing their name down. I'll have that conversation. Then I have somebody else in a different area that's been a hard conversation. I'm going to write their name down probably tomorrow. Now, what happens if you go, well, Wayne, I did this for 5 days in a row. I've made 3 people mad. I've built some great relationships. I got some things on track. What do? What if I sit there today and I don't have a hard conversation? I don't have anybody to converse with about anything. Everything's good. Then look at the man or woman in the mirror and say, okay, if your future self were to look at you today, what hard conversation would they have? Would it be about your productivity, your attitude, your diet, your health? What conversation would the future self have with you today? So hopefully this was helpful, guys. We're 13 minutes into something I was going to take maybe 5 minutes to talk about. But here, go to yourpersuasioncoach.com, go to the blog, read it, check out my other ones. I have some really good information on there. We've done some podcasts on there. There's a couple of books I'd really recommend you go through and listen to. Who Not How. We did a deep dive review. My team did on that. Decisive, Relentless, and so much more. But again, if you're watching this, like, hey, Wayne, this was great. Wayne, this sucked. Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to know. Post in comments. Be sure if you're watching this on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, YouTube, be sure to follow me. Hit me up in comments. I'd love to connect with you. I read every comment. I'll respond. And go out there, have that hard conversation, and make it a great day.